Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. Today's video is going to be a ranking of the last 10 foundations I tried. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. If you are into eyeshadow palettes, essence and Catrice reviews, and getting the use out of your makeup like I am, then stay tuned because today I'm going to be chatting about 10 foundations that I tried and reviewed, and I'm sort of going to rank them as a nice little roundup of the year, you could say. Now, I'm currently working on two more foundation related projects that I'll tell you a bit more about as we're doing this video. But yeah, today I have a mix of both high-end and drugstore foundations for you. And because I have fair skin with a cool neutral undertone, when it comes to trying out foundations, I have thoughts, you guys. I have thoughts because shade ranges can be a bit difficult for me to get right, and to find my shade in products is just incredibly difficult sometimes. And because I've been buying, trying, and reviewing makeup for more than a decade, I definitely also have some strong favorites. So if you'd like to join the Snow Angel Club, then definitely click subscribe down below. So yeah, before we get to the foundations, I have a ranking here of 10 plus one honorable mention that has already been discontinued. So I wanted to mention it in a video, so I thought I might as well rope it in here. And these are all foundations that I have tried in the past year. Now, some of the foundations that I'll be featuring today kind of set me off on a little bit of a, well, you could say a bit of a hunt for good drugstore and also BB creams. So that's why those aren't going to all be featured here. Some of those I have already tried out and reviewed, but in 2023, you can expect two more base product foundation, or foundation videos like this, you could say. One all drugstore and one with K-beauty, J-beauty, Asian beauty BB creams. That's sort of what I still have in the works for you. Those are things I'm working on behind the scenes. I hope to be able to do those as soon as I can. I'm going to be putting some more of those drugstore foundations in my Shop My Stashes for sure at the start of the new year, and then hopefully in the springtime I can do another one of these with just drugstore foundations. That's the priority right now. First, the drugstore stuff. So yeah, as I already mentioned, I have 11 here, but we're going to be ranking 10. So the one that falls outside of the ranking is the Kiko Precious Rituals foundation. This was part of their Precious Rituals limited edition collection, so this is no longer around. However, Kiko does bring back a lot of their products in other limited edition collections throughout the year. So very often if you miss out on a product in collection A, then a year later they'll do another collection and it will have a similar product in, which is why I still wanted to mention it, because this is a nice foundation. But it was very confusing because it said something differently on the packaging than what it did on the website when I bought it. It's a hydrating foundation, despite the name, velvet finish. This is nice, but in shade 1, Ivory, it's just a touch too yellow and dark for me, which is why it wasn't perfect. And that's been my issue with a lot of Kiko products, where they don't do a lot of undertones, and if they do undertones, they tend to be more yellow tone, more golden, which is really beautiful on some skin types, or skin tones I should say, but for me, it's just not quite right. I'm just a little bit too pale for something like that. So that's why this, I like it, but since it's already been discontinued, there isn't much I can say about it. I can't really recommend it. If you are looking for a Kiko foundation that I love, that does come in more undertones and that is also hydrating, then I can recommend the Insta Moisture. I think I'm shade 1R from the top of my head in this one. But now we get to the ranking. So 10 foundations. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 truly drugstore things, something that you can debate based on price point whether it fits within the drugstore category, and then 5 more high-end / luxury things. So we're kicking off the ranking in number 10, in the 10th place, the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream. So this was one that intrigued me because I heard Kelly Gooch talking about it. She didn't love it. I have mine in Fair 120, and the shade in this is good for me. This is a nice shade. So it definitely has that going for it. It's just a little too full coverage for what I need. Now, I believe Kelly said that for her, it looked quite cakey. On me, I didn't feel that really did that, as long as I don't use too much. Because it's quite full coverage, I feel that if I use a full pump, I get too much product, and I tend to go with this one for half a pump and then really sheer it out, and then I don't get this to cake up on me. So in terms of what it does, I think if you're looking for a fuller coverage product at the drugstore, that this is a really nice one. It's not for me. I think this may be better if you have oily skin. So that's why for me, this isn't at the bottom of the ranking, but I definitely can see merit in this product. Like, it's got a lot of good positive things going for it. So I definitely didn't dislike this at all. But if I look at everything else I have here, this had to go into the number 10 spot. Number 9, and this is quite new to me, and this is the Ultraviolet SPF 50 Dream Screen Tinted Veil. This is in the shade V12. And the reason why this is going to be ranked in the number 9 spot is for 2 reasons: the shade and the texture. Now, I love a dewy tinted moisturizer kind of like product. That's what actually quite a few of these are. But this, I don't know, it's not dewy in a nice way. It looked a little like greasy on me, and I felt it didn't play really well with the concealer that I paired this with as well. It's like, because this has so much like such a dewy texture, it's difficult to pair it with other things. I feel also that if you do put powder on top of this, the powder can sort of clump together, and that makes your makeup look a little bit more cakey. So this I like, but I think this is more so for me if I'm like in the spring summer season and I just want to go for a no makeup day. I don't want to wear anything else. This is a lovely product. The shade is a little bit too yellow and a little bit too dark for me, but one shade down was just far too light. So I was sort of like on this like in between those 2 shades, and I'm too lazy to be buying 2 foundations just to try out to see if I can match the shade to myself. So I'm gonna keep this around. In the summertime, I tend to be a little bit darker than this, and I can get away with a more yellow undertone foundation because I do have neutral skin, so I can sort of get away with both. I just prefer something that's a bit more pinky or truly neutral on me rather than something like this, which is overly yellow. It's pretty. I can wear this for sure. I like this, but it's more like a seasonal product for me. It's not an all-rounder, and if a product is an all-rounder that I feel I can wear year-round, that is always going to get a bonus point. So again, I like this. I'm going to get more use out of this for sure, but at the moment, I don't really feel it goes with what I need. Number 8 then, the Glossier Skin Tint. I like this less than I had expected, which is why it's in the bottom part of this ranking today. I have mine in G11, which is not quite the lightest shade. They do something even lighter. But with this, it's so lightweight that it kind of disappears at first. It looks like it. I definitely feel I need concealer when I wear this because it's not like enough coverage to take away my redness. But for that no makeup kind of day, I say yes. My biggest pet peeve though is that when you try squeezing this out, it's a little bit difficult to get the product to come out. Almost as if there's something like avoiding the product to come out. I'm not sure what that's all about, but maybe that's just to avoid you over applying this. I love the finish this gives. Like this, if you want to wear very little makeup, you just want to look a little bit fresher, this is really lovely, but don't expect coverage. I knew that going into it, so that's not the reason why this goes into the bottom half of the ranking. This is definitely going into the bottom half of the ranking because for most days, I just want a little bit more than that, but I'm really happy to have this because in terms of a skin tint, I think this is the actual, like if I think of the term and what I then hope it will do, I think this is the first like true skin tint that isn't just a light coverage foundation, because I feel that that's sort of been the new marketing tactic, is to take a light coverage foundation and then just call it a skin tint and then hopefully everybody's happy. But this I feel is a true skin tint. It's not quite a tinted moisturizer, it's not quite a foundation, but it's definitely somewhere in between. And that's why I like this one. So by the way, I forgot to say this in my intro, but I do have like reviews up on the blog with all of these. So if you want to see swatches or like a shade match, like a close-up of what this looks like on my skin, or if you want to see like a side-by-side comparison of what kind of coverage things give, then definitely click the links in the description box down below because I have reviews up for all of these things already. So number 7, we have the Charlotte Tilbury beautiful skin foundation. I have mine in the shade 3, which is just a touch too dark. But I feel I found a dupe for this in the Flower Beauty Light Illusion foundation. I have that in the shade Porcelain. And I feel that the textures of these are just the same. So I don't feel you need to spend this kind of money. Now, of course, Flower Beauty isn't available everywhere. So that may be why you might still be interested in this product. I like this. A lot of people don't like it because on them it looks really cakey. On me, it looks beautiful, very, very natural. So yeah, my main reason for popping this in the bottom half of this ranking is because of the shade range. I mean, 3 Cool is the lightest cool tone shade, and it's not that cool toned. But when I was buying this, I figured that getting a shade that was too dark but the right undertone was better for me, because you can change the depth of a foundation, but it's very difficult to change the undertone of a foundation. So that's why I went with this. And that's why I also like my Flower Beauty one. I think perhaps I can mix those together. But then again, the Flower Beauty one kind of oxidizes on me, which is why I feel they're very similar indeed. But yeah, maybe I can do that and get a little bit, this to be a little bit lighter than what it actually is. But I feel that texture-wise, those are very similar indeed, which is another reason why I was like, this needs to go into the bottom half of this ranking, especially considering some of the other bits I still have coming up. Now, a brand that I have, like, this is just a hunch. I'm not sure if I'm right, but H&M Beauty is also created in Italy, like Charlotte Tilbury. So I actually think that their makeup may also include some dupes, and the Perfect Hydrating Foundation from H&M Beauty I loved. This is in the shade 2N, Light Sand, and it's a really good neutrally toned shade. Much better for me than the Charlotte. Like, you can see how much lighter this is compared to that. So I think that if you want to go for that, I don't feel this is a straight up dupe. I do feel this has a more liquidy, slightly less creamy texture than the Charlotte Tilbury one has, but this is so, so lovely. I really, really did like this, which is why it's just outside of the top 5, because I did like the other things a little bit better, but this was very natural on indeed. This is one where I'm like, I don't necessarily need it because it's not like super duper memorable. Like, it's not one of the most standout foundations from the drugstore I've tried in recent years at all, but it was definitely a good one. Kicking off the top 5 is this, the Purito Cica Clearing BB Cream. And this is something that people had recommended I try when I did some of my K-beauty videos in the past, but it was out of stock for a long time. I have mine in shade 21 Light Beige. That seems to be my right shade in a lot of Asian beauty products, so it was a good bat. This goes on gray at first. It looks gray when you first start blending it in, but something happens to this. It's almost like it adapts itself to your skin tone. It doesn't. I'm pretty sure that when you blend it out, that's when the pigment really shines through, and then it looks really pretty. Very natural, really nice texture. It's got enough coverage, but it's not too heavy of a coverage. It's not quite a skin tint. It's not quite a foundation. This is quite possibly one of the best BB creams I've ever tried. And I think it's giving the Misha one I love so much a run for its money. So now that I've tried this, I kind of did a thing. I haven't shown you this in a haul yet, but I will be showing you the BB creams I bought to try in my January haul for sure, because of me trying this, I was like, I need to try more BB creams. So not only do I have a drugstore foundation project going on the background, but I'm also going to be doing some BB cream testing next year. So definitely stay tuned for that. Number 4 then, NYX Born to Glow. This was a huge, huge surprise to me. I got this because I was like, you know what? I haven't tried a drugstore foundation in a while, so that's why I bought the e.l.f. and this one. And because I tried this, I was like, you know, the drugstore can just kill it. The undertones aren't always great for me, but I just went online and I found some foundations to try. So like the Purito kicking off this like BB cream, wanting to try more of those, this kicked off my desire to try more drugstore foundations. So the NYX Born to Glow is great. This is in shade 3 Porcelain. And in terms of like a glowy foundation, This is one of the best things I've tried in years. I was so happy with this. Like, this is why the H&M gets to go into the number 6 spot, because I'm like, I like this better. Just a whole lot better. So that's why this, I love and adore. So that's why this is in the number 4 spot. Again, I have a couple of other bits I like a bit better. And that's, for instance, this. Now, this is the Hema Bay Before Anything Else. That's what the name stands for. Shake Up Skin Tint. This is in the shade 01 Natural 10, which is the lightest shade they do. Now, this is a Dutch brand, but they do have stores in France, in Belgium, and in the UK, provided you probably need to go to bigger cities to find them. I think they also have some stores in Germany, like they've expanded quite a bit, and they have a name brand makeup line, and part of that makeup line, they do this really sort of fun, young, more innovative kind of packaging, and I saw this, and if you look at the shade, you're not going to think this is going to work for me. It looks in the tube, it looks as dark as the Charlotte Tilbury. But when I blend this out, it turns lighter. So where the Flower Beauty I mentioned oxidizes, this when it goes on, it shears out and it matches my skin tone perfectly. And there's a reason why I'm ranking this over the Glossier. This is what I wanted the Glossier to do originally. When I bought this Glossier, this is what I thought it was gonna do. But I found this for €5 at my local store. I know it's not universally available. I do apologize for that, but number 3 needs to go to this, because I was like, for how expensive this is one of the best products I've tried all year. All year, I have to tell you. So that's why this, I was like, I need to put this in this video. I need to test it out immediately. The minute I put this on my face just the one time, I was like, okay, I need to see how this wears. But this looks beautiful all day. It's got just the right amount of coverage that I like. It's dewy, but not overly dewy. This stuff is amazing. So if you're in the Netherlands, Belgium, like just across the border, Germany, France, or the UK, then you can try yourself that. It is lovely. But we all know that I prefer many higher end brands for foundations, and that's because they usually have better shade ranges. And I think the launch in recent years that has the best shade range is the Lisa Eldridge foundation. The Lisa Eldridge foundation is the Seamless Skin Foundation. I have mine in shade 5. Yes, there are 4 lighter shades in this line than what I needed, because I usually need the lighter or one of the lightest shades in a foundation range. When I got my first sample card in, I completely miscalculated how many shades there would be. This comes in 50 shades. So I ended up purchasing the full size after trying this on in store, because I was just very confused after trying those like sample cards. I was like, is there going to be a shade for me? So I just found out that the first 4 shades were far too light for me, and that also really with this one made me realize yet again how important it is to be able to tell whether a foundation works for you to get the shade right. Because I just felt when I was trying out those lighter shades, it just didn't look nice. I was like, do I want to spend my money on a full size of that foundation? I thought it looked horrible. Cakey, it really emphasized texture, and now that I have this and I've tried it, I know that it's just down to the fact that the shade were off, like the shades weren't right, and that's why it didn't look nice on my complexion at all. But this, granted, I had to figure out how to apply it. Not gonna lie. So I did film a short. I'm not sure when it's gonna go up, but if it's already up, I'll make sure to link it in the description box down below. That with this, you need to work in very sheer layers for it to go on nicely. And I would also say use fingers and or a brush to apply this. For me, this doesn't work with a sponge at all. Something about a damp sponge just makes this bunch up and cake up. And that's another thing that I was doing when I was trying out those other foundations, is that I was using a sponge most of the time. So I really just needed to figure out how to use this. And once I figured out how to make it work on my skin, I have gotten compliments from people like looking at my skin like, wow, your skin looks amazing. People were leaving me comments saying, your skin looks amazing. What are you wearing? It was this. But the thing that makes me feel the prettiest of everything that I'm talking about today was this. The Rare Beauty Tinted Moisturizer. I'm not sure, the Positive Light Tinted Moisturizer. I have this in 16C, great shade match. I don't know, I just have this love affair with Rare Beauty products. I know not everybody likes them, but this is my top favorite foundation I tried all year, just because of how easy it is to use. Like, the shade is great, I can whack this on, there's just no special technique. I can just wear it every single day and I'd be a happy camper for sure. This doesn't emphasize any texture on my dry skin. It doesn't emphasize like fine lines. I am in my late 30s, so that's something I'm looking for as well sometimes with some foundations, especially something like the e.l.f. If you use too much, it really can like pull into lines. This never does that. So I love it for that reason, which is why the Rare Beauty had to go into the #1 spot. This just ticks all the boxes. Everything else that I've shown you so far ticks most boxes, but this ticks them all. It's great texture, wears all day, doesn't accentuate any fine lines, it's easy to use. I can very easily control how much product I'm using. I can wear it for like most of the year. The shade is just great. This just does it all. And that's why it had to go into the #1 spot. So those are the 10 foundations I want to chat about in today's video. Please remember that I will be doing 2 spin-off videos from this with drugstore foundations and BB creams in 2023. I still have to try most of those things, so it's going to take me some time to get round to it. But a drugstore foundation one is going to go up first because I still have, I think, about half of those to try. So that's definitely coming your way. And stay tuned because I'm going to be filming my end of year favorites for December. So between Christmas and New Year's Eve, those videos will be going live. And I do think I made a shelf. So in case you're wondering, there is a link in the description box down below called Shop My Favorites. And I did make a list of my favorite foundations there as well. So if you want to shop some of my favorites and use those affiliate links, of course you don't have to, don't feel obliged. But if you want to shop some of these, because I know I listed some of those in my top 10 favorite foundations there as well. So I hope you would like to check those things out. And then I hope you'd like to stay tuned for more because I make several videos every single week. Thumbs up the video, subscribe, and then I hope to see you in my next video. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.